Hello, everyone. I hope your week is going well so far. A happy Valentine's Day. We're halfway to the long weekend here in Ontario, so very excited for that as well. Thank you so much for joining me to learn more about Spaces EDU's assessment tools and how they can make you even more efficient in your teaching practices. My name is Tatiana, the Education Training and Engagement Specialist here at Spaces EDU. My job is all about helping educators like you navigate Spaces EDU with confidence, identifying the perfect features for your teaching practices. So I've got your back. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. But by now, you should be familiar with the platform or at least the foundational elements of Spaces EDU. But for those of you today who are brand new to SpacesEDU, this is essentially what the platform looks like. It's a digital portfolio and proficiency-based assessment platform built to showcase growth. Students, teachers, and families can capture and celebrate the learning journey while with visible assessment practices, all in one platform. So today's session will be focused on taking your knowledge to the next level and learning how to effectively leverage Spaces EDU for assessment purposes. So that being said, together we will be exploring those assessment tools and discover how you can transform the way you assess on student progress within Spaces EDU. So by now, you should consider yourself a Spaces EDU digital documentation expert, meaning you should already know how to do a couple of these things. First of all, you should know how to configure your learning environments for ongoing digital documentation and family engagement. You should know how to empower your students to create a trail of multimedia artifacts to strive for sufficient evidence of learning. And prepare your Spaces EDU class for assessment by loading relevant curriculum tag sets and understand the appropriate methods of sharing content and engaging with your class. If you haven't quite mastered these skills yet, no worries. You can now actually learn at your own pace and earn a badge and a certificate for free and in just under 30 minutes. So I would recommend scanning the QR code for more details. I'll also include the link in the description down below. But we do now have content courses for you available through Otis for educators. So all you have to do is sign up for a free basic membership to get access to our micro credential and earn your badge and certificate today. Before we kick things off, let's just discuss what formative assessment is all about. Formative assessment at its essence is a student-centered process that captures learning in real time, informing and enhancing instructional practices along the way. The continuous exchange of high quality feedback enables both teachers and students to identify strengths, areas of improvement, and next steps in their learning journey. This continuous cycle provides students with crystal clear answers to key questions such as where am I going? So it lays out the learning objectives and success criteria. Where am I now? It hones in on their progress toward the learning objectives and success criteria, and where to next. It identifies gaps in understanding to dictate their next steps. Ooh. Oh, I am so sorry. So, how can you facilitate formative assessment in Spaces EDU? You have access to assessment tools at your fingertips, such as our curriculum tags and goals, our activities feature, proficiency scales, and the proficiency report. Throughout the webinar today, we'll be exploring all of these tools together to elevate your assessment practices. One thing to note before we go any further, though, make sure to check with your district administrator to confirm whether you have access to a Spaces EDU Pro Plus account. If you do not have access to the proficiency report, feel free to reach out to pro@spacesedu.com for additional details, as these are Spaces EDU Pro Plus reporting add-on features. So definitely communicate with your leads if you are interested. in that type of feature. In just a moment, we're going to be exploring the teacher account. First, I wanted to highlight what you're going to gain from today's session. At the end of this webinar, you'll be equipped with all the SpacesEDU knowledge you need to connect student work to the learning standard using curriculum tags and assigning a level of proficiency within your SpacesEDU class. You'll be able to leverage the data-informed proficiency report, providing comprehensive insights into student performance to inform your instructional decisions. You'll also be able to plan and organize effective classroom assessments with cross-curricular activities using backward design principles, and provide continuous descriptive feedback on student progress through comments and messages. Okay, so let's go ahead and explore the teacher account together. You've probably already added your curriculum tag sets to your account, essentially to prepare you for assessment. And now to use SpacesEDU's assessment tools, you have to modify the curriculum and proficiency visibility settings accordingly. So to adjust these parameters, we'll actually start in the class settings here. So I'm in the feed at the moment, and I'm going to navigate to the top left section of the page where you'll see the gear icon next to the class name. We're just going to click on that and then on Edit Class. And from here, we are in the class settings, and scrolling down, you should have the curriculum tags and goals toggled on. Then make both the curriculum tag and proficiency scales visible, and make sure that the students and families have visibility as well. While we strongly recommend visibility for both students and families, it's worth noting that this might differ among educators based on individual teaching practices and preferences. Additionally, some might have this toggled on as a default based on what your district or your school has determined. So once we're happy with all the changes, just make sure you click on this button at the bottom to get started. Now you're ready to start assessing your students in SpacesEDU. All right, let me actually show you how easy it is to apply curriculum tags and proficiency levels here. As you may already know, posts are the go-to tool for on-the-fly digital documentation for students and teachers alike. But here's the cool part. You can actually, as a teacher user, throw in curriculum tags as you're creating a post. So we're going to do that right now just to show you in the post creation process here where you can locate curriculum tags. The curriculum tags are at the bottom over here, and you can go ahead and click on this button to select from the the tag sets that you've had added to your account here as you're creating a post, which is awesome. Otherwise, you can actually identify a post that you'd like to tag. So let's say we want to tag this one. We can click on the little curriculum tag icon here on the bottom left of the post to select our curriculum tag. So we will go ahead and we'll select 2 core competencies here. And if we wanted to, we could also assess them at the same time. Add a level, and then click on the check mark to submit. And just like that, in a couple clicks, you've assessed your students, you've built some assessment data directly from your SpacesEDU class. Actually, let's now take a moment to explore the versatility of curriculum tags. While these tags are primarily utilized for assessment purposes, they can also serve as organizational tools for content across your spaces. Take a look on the right-hand side here on the tags and proficiencies panel. You will see this is where all your assessment tools live. So you can consider curriculum tags as digital dividers in a binder, really allowing you to neatly arrange content based on areas of learning, curriculum standards, and even non-curricular criteria like artifact type, time frame, and more. If you are interested in non-curricular tags, you can search up SpacesEDU when adding new tag sets through your account. But yeah, you can see that I have goal here as an example, and even the term for the time frame as I am tagging work. Posts are definitely awesome for documentation on the fly and class engagement, as we've established. And sure, you can also utilize them for assessment purposes. But if you're looking for a tool that's more robust, then I would suggest opting for activities. And if we go into the activities tab here, let's just dive right in. And what sets activities apart from posts is that they can be scheduled and also, with designated start and due dates, which is a dream for all the planning enthusiasts out there, including myself. I love to be able to plan ahead. And when you're creating activities, you can seamlessly weave cross-curricular opportunities using backward design and pre-tagging assignments with outcomes that you want to assess. In general, activities are a game changer because they allow you to monitor student progress. You can also offer real-time meaningful feedback and even set the stage for reassessment. So really providing students with ample chances to show mastery as well. So from here, you would click on the bottom right corner, which is the plus create button to create your first activity. And we're actually taken to the activity portal here, which is your visual and virtual storage for previously created activity templates. So that saves your activities across SpacesEDU from class to class, year to year. And you can easily recycle and tweak these templates to tailor instructions for specific students, classes, and spaces. If you happen to be a co-teacher or you happen to have co-teachers in your class, you can actually reuse their activities as well, which is awesome. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel here and just reuse whatever you want from the portal. Let's select one over here. And we'll go ahead and show you what these fields mean and how you would be able to populate them accordingly. First, we'll start with the space. So you'd have to select the appropriate space. So how do you want to share student submissions? Do you want the entire class to see it, or do you want to privately document the submission in a personal space? For example, a portfolio individual space. So you'd have to make sure you're looking at where you're assigning this and then select it from the list. Next is selecting your students, of course. So do you want to assign this activity to your entire class, which it does by default, or just to specific individuals? As a matter of fact, this will also include all future students, which is really awesome. If you have a student that joins your class later into the semester, they are guaranteed to be assigned this activity. Granted, if it is scheduled in the future as well, but that's a neat little feature here that could be applied. You'll need a title and of course, instructions, but you can also add up to 10 multimedia files for resources if you need to, and additional context, whatever the case may be. And now we are actually moving on to the organizational features of the activity, which includes important dates and curriculum tags. So if I wanted to make this visible at a later date, I could do that and even assign a due date if I wish. The curriculum tags here have already been applied because I'm reusing an activity, but I am also free to edit them if I want to. I could remove the existing tag, or I can even add additional ones on here as well from my directory. And then finally, this is where you would decide if you want students to be able to unsubmit their work. And until you have locked or posted the submission. So that's a neat little option here, or you can disable that. So the submission is locked when you receive it. So once you've decided on all of these fields, you can go ahead and click Assign on the top right corner. There we go. And now the activity is alive and your students will be notified once now that this is live, actually. So you may be wondering, how do you review activities as you start receiving student submissions? The reviewing process is super simple. You'll actually leverage the activity quick review table here. Let me go ahead and jump into this one over here. What you'll do is you'll begin by clicking the student's name to begin reviewing their activity. This will then open a view of the submission itself, along with a preview of any attached files. So we can quickly see here that the student has attached two files, one of them being an audio recording, and then the other is a document. So again, activity submissions can include multimedia, up to 10 files. You can also add feedback, descriptive feedback using the comment box over here that is recorded. And on the bottom right corner, this is where you would type your comments or your, you could add audio-based feedback as I did here. You could upload a file, for example, a grading rubric. Your comments along with any comments from the students will appear over here. And for the assessment piece, you'll see your curriculum tags that you've used here. So what you can do is assign a proficiency level, as I did over here, or even add additional curriculum tags if you wish. So let's actually exit and show you the quick review table. So to ensure that you've assessed all your students, you can take a look at, first of all, the submissions from here. So this is a bird's eye view of your entire class or the students that you've assigned this activity to. And you can see how many, pieces of media they've attached, how many comments were made from both parties, and how many curriculum tags were assessed as well, and the status of the activity submission. The one that we just looked at has been posted to the space. So every submission, it can be documented and posted to the respective space. As for the proficiency table here within the activity, you can apply proficiencies for students and also just making sure that they've all been assessed. If you click on the box here, it allows you to assess the student even before you receive a submission, which is awesome. So it's ensuring that you have done the work here. Your assessment is up to date, and you can see, just quickly how your students are doing as well. And you have a couple filtering options here. You can filter by student and by tag as well. One thing to note about the activity proficiency table, this is not available within mobile apps, so you will have to use your web or your browser to be able to access this feature. Let's go back into the quick review table over here. Once you've reviewed all submissions, you can actually click Post to Space button here in the top right corner of the activity quick review table. And that will prompt you to select which students you'd like to post, for which you'd like to post. And then you would go ahead and do that. So what's awesome is you don't have to post submissions as they come in. You can also just wait and do a mass blast posting as you receive all submissions across the board. All right. So if you needed another reason to assess students in SpacesEDU, I have an awesome feature here to show you. Just one of the last little tool we'll be exploring today. So every bit of assessment data you document becomes easily accessible through the proficiency report. Not only is it visible here on the right-hand side, right, you can see which curriculum standards have been applied or, been explored here. And you also have the average proficiency level for each of those curriculum tags. But you can see this in a table as well. So the proficiency report is actually accessible through your feed on this right side panel. If we click on that, this is going to showcase a detailed overview of the curriculum tags that have been applied to posted work across your spaces, along with the corresponding proficiency levels assigned to each student. So we have the ability to look at the most recent proficiency or the average, so you're able to kind of compare as well where the student is at. You have the ability to filter by student and by tag as well. You can use the search feature if you like to have a more targeted view of the proficiency report. Sorry. And when you hover your mouse over any of these little boxes here, you gain access to a detailed summary of proficiency levels for each post within that corresponding curriculum tag. So it's a nice little breakdown. When you click on the proficiency level itself, for any student, you're able to view a chronological feed of posts associated with that curriculum tag, really offering a comprehensive timeline of their progress here as well. So this would be a great tool to leverage when you're having a one-on-one time with your students, and if you want to speak about their progress and their growth, definitely leverage the proficiency tool here. And as I mentioned, you can also customize the overall proficiency level displayed to either the average of all posts with that tag or the most recent. So really providing that flexibility in how you assess and interpret student performance. So as you can see, by utilizing the proficiency report effectively, you gain a powerful tool to enhance your teaching strategies here and foster meaningful conversations as well. But ultimately, it provides an effortless method for standards-based reporting as well, because based on all this data that you have, you can pivot your teaching strategies, with this insight that you're getting from the report, allowing you to tailor your instructional approach in creating opportunities for differentiation to meet the diverse needs of your students as well. And you can engage in meaningful conversations with students and families throughout the year. The proficiency report really facilitates discussions about student growth in specific areas, as you can see, of learning, and provides insights into the mastery of competencies and standards, which is very critical here when it comes to competency-based education. And finally, the proficiency report aims to simplify interim and year-end reporting. The accessibility here of the data really enhances and informs your reporting process, and allowing you to eventually optimize each student's reporting space efficiently. Since we have some time here, let me show you what a reporting space can look like. And so basically a reporting space is, you can think of it as a visual report card or a summative portfolio. If you go to the Spaces tab, again, if you have access to the reporting add-on, you should see this little banner up here. If you go to view reporting space, we are actually jumping into an example here. We'll go to Lilo's reporting space. So it's nicely populated. Each reporting space allows you to have summary statements, so you can have a general overview here or add your general observations about a student's progress and their learning, and you can attach up to 10 multimedia files as well for resources or additional context or comments. And you can also go into areas of learning. So the area of learning categories are customizable based on what you need to report on. Over here, what I've focused on is strengths, areas of improvement, next steps, and attendance as well. And important to note that if you're going to have an area of learning for each subject, as an example, you can also apply an overall proficiency level. So this is where the data from the proficiency report would come in handy if you wanted to use the average of specific curriculum standards, et cetera, et cetera. So you could apply the corresponding proficiency, overall proficiency here within that summary statement. And you can actually download or print this summary statement here if you click on this little download button and save it for your records. You could share it externally with families as well. So it's a nice way to document progress for your students from term to term, like reporting period to reporting period. Moving on, we have then bookmarked. So this is a curated space here from all the existing spaces that you have, all the posts that are living within your class. You can bookmark them into the student's reporting space. So if there's specific work that you like to celebrate or highlight that you think is worth showcasing here in this summative portfolio or in this visual report card, you would click on the bookmark icon on the post from the feed, and then you would be able to have this little nicely curated reporting space for your students. It carries over any curriculum tags and proficiencies that were originally applied, as well as comments. But on top of that, if you wanted to add additional comments, you could directly from the reporting space, and it wouldn't affect the original post. As a matter of fact, we highly encourage you to do this, and also encourage your students and their families to do that as well, because you can grant them common access to the reporting space too at any point in time. If you also want to make it invisible in between reporting periods, that's also possible. So in addition to those little features, you can pin up to 3 posts in this space, meaning that those posts would appear at the very top. So think of these posts as things worth highlighting or celebrating again. So you would click on this little pin icon here, the top right corner of the post, and then establish where you like it to be pinned. Maybe you want it in the second place. And there you have it. You have your top 3 posts in this reporting space. So again, these can be modified from any time. So this may look different from reporting period to reporting period. And then other things worth mentioning is you will also see the curriculum tags on the right-hand side from all the posts that you've curated and bookmarked into the reporting space over here. And when you're ready to share with families, you can click on the students or the family button on the top right corner and make this visible. You can, toggle these little features on as well if you wanted more engagement and visibility. And you would hit save to make sure that your students and their families have access. And that's it for today. It's basically wraps up the assessment tools here on SpacesEDU. Some really awesome tools that I think would be beneficial here for any teachers who want to elevate and digitize their assessment practices as well. This makes data super accessible, and why not use them if you're already using SpacesEDU for digital documentation? It makes sense to use it all in one place, and it's accessible. You can share easily with students and families as well. So if you were curious and just wanted to explore some more, I would actually recommend going to our website, which is spacesedu.com. And we have a resources section as well. So you'll see resources on the top navigation bar, and then head to all resources here. We have guides, implementation ideas for specific account types or audiences, etc. And also video tutorials. So if you are a visual learner and you like micro learning, definitely leverage the video tutorials. Those get updated as we have new releases and product enhancements as well. So the certification is live as from here. So if you were curious, you can go on here and learn more about how to sign up. But definitely take advantage of these resources. They are free and they are available through our website. And if you have any questions, you can also contact our support team directly from your account in the chat box, or you could also head to the help center and type in any keywords you're looking for and find your answers through there. Otherwise, you can also email the support team at hello@spacesedu.com. They are accessible by email. Let's go back here into the presentation. Okay. Okay, well, I want to thank you again for joining me today. If you have any questions, I've put the support team email up on the screen, and you can also follow us on our socials and keep up with some of our updates and podcasts as well. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.